Hey everybody, welcome to Reflections, the wisdom of Edgar Cayce. We're coming to you as always courtesy of our broadcasting partner moretalk.tv. Today on the show, I am happy to welcome Renee Branch. Renee is a nationally certified reflexologist, massage therapist, and is a certified hypnotherapist and Reiki Master. She graduated from the Cayce Readings School of Massage in 2002. Renee is an intuitive and heart-centered therapist providing holistic therapies. She loves to combine other modalities with her reflexology foundation to enhance the relaxing and healing effects derived from excellent reflexology. The courses she teaches at the Cayce Reading School of Massage include Body, Mind, Spirit, Healer's Path, Reflexology's Level 1 and 2, Chair Massage, Cayce Remedies, Hydrotherapy, Reiki, and Sacred Hot Stones. She also loves making others aware of the holistic therapies in the Cayce Readings and empowering them to take charge of their own personal health. In addition to her private practice as Happy Feet Healing Arts, Renee works as the Enrollment Coordinator for continuing education for the Cayce Reading School of Massage. Renee, thank you so much for joining us today on Reflections.
Thank you. I appreciate you asking me.
Of course, our pleasure. And I know over the years you've held a number of different positions at the A.R.E. and also at the Cayce Reading School of Massage. But I'm curious, how did you first get introduced to Edgar Cayce readings in the A.R.E.?
When I was 13, 12, 13, something like that, I found a book at the used bookstore, the thrift store. My first book was Gina Simonera's Mini Mansions. And once I read that, I kept looking for the little logo with the dove and the cross on those books, and I bought all those and read everything I could get my hands on. I actually pulled out the little card. They used to come with the little postcards in them, and I pulled it out and mailed it in. I was like, because the book was like 1950, 1960, and I was like, I wonder if this place is still there. So I sent it in and got my letter back, and caused quite a stir because my parents were like, who's sending you mail? You're only 13. Like, oops. So yeah, it caused a lot of problems. But yeah, so I kept at it, became a member, in and out, college, stuff happening, and finally decided that, I realized I saw in the Venture Inward that there was a school, that they had a massage school here, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to go do that. So I came to massage school expecting to go back to St. Louis, where I'm from, and I never left.
And what has been the most amazing part about being involved with the A.R.E. for you over the years, being a part of the community?
I don't know. I think I've really enjoyed learning about different people and how they've come to the readings. The stuff that people have done with the readings. There's just some amazing stories out there of how they've used the readings to help themselves and their friends or family. I've done that myself. My mother was diagnosed with liver cancer, and they did not expect her to last very long, but she actually lived 2 whole years after being diagnosed with stage 4. And I think it was because we used the castor oil packs on her pretty religiously. Plus I knew about SEXT and some of the other natural things to do. So we got her on that right away. And I really believe that helped her live a little bit longer, take care of some stuff.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you've talked about a few different modalities here, and you seem to be a very gifted hands-on healer. And I'm curious, is this something that's always been a part of your life, or when did you first become aware of this gift of your ability to heal others?
Well, I was a graphic designer before I came to massage. And I would walk around the office and just start rubbing people's necks. Just like I couldn't keep my hands off people's necks. I just had to rub on them. And they're like, oh, I'll give you an hour to stop. Or, oh, you should do this for a living. And I laughed at them. I didn't even occur to me that you could do it for a living. I don't know why. idea. I guess it just wasn't in my time zone or whatever it was, but I saw that ad in the magazine, Adventure Inward, for the massage school, and I went, oh, I can't do this for a living. Okay. So after that, it took me about 4 years after that to actually pull myself together and come on out and do it. I got a astrology reading to make sure that I was coming to the right area. There was a lot of signs pulling me towards Chicago instead of the East Coast, but the astrology chart said, no, East Coast is where you're going to learn your most valuable lessons. And I went, okay. Of course, at the time, I didn't realize some of those lessons were going to be a little hard.
I can relate. I think it's the energy of Virginia Beach. It helps to facilitate a lot of spiritual growth.
Oh, yes, definitely.
Absolutely. And I'm curious, you refer to yourself as kind of an intuitive, heart-centered therapist. And for our listeners who might not know what exactly that entails, can you tell us what that means to you?
Well, I've done a lot of studying, and I've got a lot of tools in my head to use. So when I start out doing the Cayce Reading massage, a lot of times I'll end up throwing in a Jin Shindo point, or throwing in, the Reiki comes on, or some other energy modality that I've learned, I'll start doing as part of the massage. So it tends to kind of just build itself as I'm working on the person, because at the beginning I always do the little prayer of, here I am, use me, and let me be a channel for healing or help here. So whatever comes to mind, I just go ahead and do it, because I feel like that's their guides, guardians, and angels are helping me understand what they need right then. So that's what I call intuitive. Though I do have the tools, I've got the certificates and all this different stuff. I don't tend to just do one thing. It's like everything gets put in there at once.
Right. That's wonderful.
Yeah, and I try to be very heart-centered in that I don't allow, people always say, oh, that was a very good massage. And I said, yes, I've been practicing, thanks. and I really mean that. It's not like, because I know the healing isn't me. I'm not doing the healing. It's coming through me from the source. So I can take I can take the kudos for doing the work, practicing, and being there, and allowing to be a channel, but I really can't take, the credit for being the healer. That's coming through me for them, and a lot of times it's actually them. It's turning on their intuitive, their inner doctor, and allowing their body to do the work.
Absolutely. And this idea of being a channel is such a huge part of what came out of the Cayce Health Readings. And I'm curious, what other health principles that came out of Cayce Readings have really influenced you as a holistic therapist over the years?
Well, the castor oil packs, all the different packs have really helped. Learning about doing the mud packs, the facials that we do, those have been very helpful to me personally. I love the Radiac. The Radiac has been, I don't want to say a lifesaver, but it's certainly been a big help in my journey. What else is there? There's so much. You get here, you start on one course, and then you find all this other stuff, and it's like, ooh, shiny, pretty. I want to learn that. Oh, I want to learn that. So it's very, I've been very scattered.
Right.
One thing leads you to another thing, and you just keep learning, and it's, I think that's the best part about being here, is that I am here, and I can just walk down the hall and say, hey, have you heard about this? Or, Kevin, you got a minute, can I ask you about this? And I think that's been the most important part, because I can just walk down the hall and ask somebody, okay, wait a minute, I just came across this. What do you know? Tell me, I got to know.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. That sense of community at the A.R.E. is everybody's in it to learn more about themselves and to learn more about healing, both yourselves and helping out others.
And each other, yes, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Learning to be a better person.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And for our listeners who might be unfamiliar, I understand that you have kind of a core foundation as a reflexologist. And for a listener who may not be familiar with what reflexology is, can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, reflexology is the idea that there are points on the hands, feet, ears, face that reflexively work with the rest of the body. So if I were to do a reflexology session on somebody, hitting certain points would refer to the other points in their body. So like the microcosm and the macrocosm type thing. Affecting a small piece affects the larger piece. So that wasn't even on my radar when I came here, but I took the first class, and it was as if I'd been doing it all my life. And right. I just knew. Because I had planned to go to learn chair massage and go back to the offices that I used to work in and do chair massage, office massage, because it really does help people with their productivity. If you get a little quick massage, you just feel better and you do better for the rest of the day. So that was my plan. And of course, God laughs at our little plans sometimes and says, oh no, that's not what I have in mind for you. So reflexology ended up being a love for me. And in Reiki, reflexology and Reiki, which is a hands-on healing type energy work. And together they're just fabulous. Of course, then that led to aromatherapy, and that led to it doesn't stop. And I enjoy very much learning and keep learning, and I don't know, it's just a lot of fun.
Yeah, and it's inspiring to see how inspired you are about it and how much you want to continue to learn. I think that's an essential part of what it means to be human.
Yeah, and I love teaching because when I'm teaching the class, they bring up stuff and say, well, have you heard about this? Like a student brought up, have you ever tried garlic for your teeth if you have a tooth problem? I'm like, no, I've never heard that. So I actually tried it, and it was pretty interesting. So I keep learning from them, and they inspire me to dig deeper and find more information and do more for them to help them. So it's been a lot of fun so far.
Great. And these healing modalities that we talked about, the two in particular, reflexology and Reiki, which are very core at your foundation, is it for everybody, these practices, or would you say it's just for it is? Absolutely.
Oh, yes. Reiki, you don't have to be a massage therapist to learn. Everybody should learn Reiki. And there's 3 levels, level 1, 2, and 3. Level 1 is about healing self. So you learn the class, you learn the hand positions, they attune you, and then you can work on yourself and family and friends. Level 2, you're taking a little bit more responsibility. Now you can go out and help others and actually get paid to do it. Level 3, people take if they want to become a teacher. A lot of times there are some schools that break master level and teaching level apart. So there's 4 levels in some circles, but here we just do the 3 levels, so it's a master teacher training.
Right.
And that's if you want to go on and teach others. A lot of people don't want that responsibility, but it is very lovely. The reflexology, in some states, you don't have to be a massage therapist to do because the client doesn't take their clothes off. So you can definitely become a reflexologist. And when I talk reflexology, it's usually feet. But there are schools, and we teach it too, hands and some little bit of ears, and there's facial stuff as well. But typically here at the spa, we use mostly feet. And people find having their feet touched safer, than getting on a table naked. So it's a good way to introduce people to safe touch.
Absolutely. And you mentioned that you're there at the spa in Virginia Beach. Can you tell us a little bit about what that spa means to you, what makes it unique, and why everybody around the world should at least pay it a visit once in their lifetime?
Well, they should pay a visit to the campus at least once in their lifetime. It's just beautiful. The renovations have been fabulous. It's exciting to see everybody get almost rejuvenated from the new energy, the new, I don't know, it just brought a new excitement to the work. The spa itself, we have the Cayce Readings massage, and that's pretty unique to us. It's a combination of Swedish physiotherapy and range of motion. Range of motion, some shaking, vibrational work. So it was developed by Dr. Reilly. That's why it's called Cayce Readings, but it's based on his readings and what he had suggested for people that had gone to see Reilly. And so he'd put it together. So a lot of the techniques and the routine itself is very unique to us. I've had students come back and tell us how much more advanced they are, having been here to go to school or even worked in the spa for a little bit, and then they go out. They just seem to know more than people who've gone to a business college and learned massage, or gone to, a little massage place. Because our school is actually CompTIA approved, which is the governing body of massage. The spa hires our students, because when the spa actually grew out of the school and has since become its own entity in its own right. It's grown over the years. The school is getting ready to celebrate its 30th year anniversary, so the spa is getting ready to celebrate 30 years as well, almost 30. And the spa has just grown over the years. As therapists, having gone through the school and this transformational experience, we really try to support each other and try to play to each other's strengths. Like if I know somebody has this tool and that tool, I might suggest my client go see them. Right. And there's always a little competition, but it's more what's best for the client. We try to stay focused on our clients and not worrying about so much the bottom line. We want the client to be happy when they leave, feel better, and have a few more tools in their box. Give them some suggestions to take home with them. Give them that castor oil pack, give them teach them about the glyco pack, give them the handouts for turpentine pack or whatever it is, so that they can take that home and empower them. It's about empowering people to take charge of their own health.
Right. Absolutely. And it seems you have a passion for empowering others through these application of the various therapies and healing modalities that came out of the Cayce Readings. And I'm curious, what advice would you offer someone who's really struggling to get their health on track right now? Is there any piece of advice that you could pinpoint it down to one thing that would really help somebody?
That would really help somebody. Well, do what your doctor says, if that's the route you're going. But also look into everything.
Right.
You don't know what's going to be helpful. Google your condition and at the end type in natural health or natural healing. Put in your condition, natural health, or whatever, and do the research and see what else is out there. It may sound wacky. I mean, come on, charred oak keg. We breathe it and it helps our lungs. That's pretty wacky, but it works. Right. Honestly works. Right. I mean, if I start to feel like I'm getting a cold or something going on, I go over to the spa and breathe in the fumes, and it clears me right up. So honestly, if it sounds wacky, don't worry about that. You don't have to tell your family and friends you're doing it. I mean, if they're going to ask. They're like, oh, you're doing so much better. Well, yeah, thanks. That medicine must be working.
That's great advice. You don't have to tell anybody that you're doing it. You just got to do it.
No, you don't have to tell anybody you're doing that.
Right.
I got a cardo keg. You don't have to tell them. Keep it in your bed and keep it hid. They can't see it. But if it works, it works, right? And absolutely. Cayce said that it's the belief, the extraordinary belief in a thing that helps make it work. Because it is mind. Mind is the builder.
Right.
It starts there. There's always more to learn and grow from. But I love that people can, especially now the internet's so big and there's so much information out there. Of course, it can be overwhelming, but they can come to our website, dig around, do a little research, come visit us, and stop by the library and check out some of the readings in person. We have computers here. They can become a member, and once they become a member, they can get online and search through the database from wherever they're at and just type in their condition and poke through it a little bit. What I had happened to me after coming to school here is I had a dream about some numbers. And so I took the numbers, typed those in, and got a reading that came up. And yeah, it was very close to what was going on in my life. So
Wow.
It's just about being aware of what's going on in yourself and paying attention to your dreams. You really
Right.
need to pay attention to those. Stuff will come up about that. So if you look at a reading and it sounds like your condition and it sounds like what's going on, then try that stuff. But use your own intuitive ability to say, yeah, that doesn't feel right. Maybe if I do this. Yeah, because those readings are so personalized for people. You
Right.
have to remember that. They're very personal. So you have to use your own intuition to help with that.
Right, absolutely. And you kind of touched on the topic of dreams, which is something that I think is hugely important and such a core principle that came out of Cayce Readings. And of course, we've talked about a lot of the health topics that you're very drawn to. But I'm curious, outside of the health topics, what other topics that came out of Cayce Readings have you really resonated with over the years?
The dreams, definitely meditation. What else? Oh, reincarnation, of course. That really helped me because I was at an age when I had, started having ideas about or feelings that I wasn't good enough. I was never going to be good enough. What's the use? So suicidal thoughts, honestly. And after reading that and realizing that we have many lifetimes to get it right, I totally relaxed. Every once in a while I'll have an anxious thought, but then I'll be like, yeah, I don't want to have to come back and do this again. Let's just breathe and keep going. So yeah, I really do love it here. I do enjoy it. It's been hard over the years. Some of the lessons are definitely hard, but it's a great place to be. Come to visit.
Absolutely.
Congress is coming up, and they've got a pre-conference about dreams with Jerry Jerry Lazarus. Is that how you say his name? He's coming and teaching some dreams, learning about the intuition and how to put it together. That's been very important. Listening to my inner voice, and that's how dreams speak to us, is through that. It's through our inner life, of course. What else has been? Those are the big ones that I can pop off the top of my head. Of course, I dabble in some of the other stuff, the Egyptian stuff, and it's just a big candy store. Really.
Yeah, it totally is. Absolutely. And I want to talk a little about, we've talked quite a bit about your practice as a healer and your different modalities that you incorporate and integrate into your practice. But I want to move on a little bit and talk about your role as an enrollment coordinator for continuing education for the Cayce Reilly School. And can you tell us a little bit about what that job entails and how what benefits you've derived from it?
As the continuing education coordinator, I try to bring in classes. We have classes that are going on, certification programs like Reflexology, Jinshin-Do, Reiki. Those are certification programs, myofascial release. It's to help support our students because we, as massage therapists, have to have 24 CE credit units every 2 years. So we have to continue learning and continue adding to our tools, like nurses and other healthcare professionals. They have to keep learning, and this is the way to do it. So I try to bring classes that are interesting, things that are, they're not necessarily in the readings, but they're definitely sympathetic, you know, compatible.
They resonate. Right.
They resonate with it. And we try to bring a variety so that it's not, you don't have to be a massage therapist for some of the introductory courses. Like reflexology, you could totally take the whole certification course here in Virginia. And like I said, some states you don't even have to be a massage therapist to be a certified reflexologist. You don't have to be that in Virginia. Jin Shin Do is the same way because you don't have to take your clothes off for that. This year we're actually offering as a post-Congress option Reiki 1. So if people come for Congress, they can stay Saturday and take the Reiki class and then practice all year and come back and take level 2 next year, hopefully. Or they can take level 1 again. We're having Healing Hands, Healing Oils the same day. So Saturday we have Reiki 1 and we have Healing Hands, Healing Oils. And Healing Hands, Healing Oils are some of the oils from the Bible that have been mentioned. They were also, a lot of them were mentioned in the Cayce Readings as well. So the class is a combination of these healing oils. There's a couple of rituals to use with them that they learn, and you don't have to be a massage therapist to learn about these oils. And so there's no prerequisites for that. And then on Sunday, we're offering the Essence of Yoga class. It's a focus on learning the sun salutation. So she's got a big day planned where she'll talk about the history of the sun salutation, why they do it. They'll practice the movements, and then she's planning on having them go through it and actually teach each other, because a lot of times you learn best when you're trying to teach it or explain it to somebody else, because then it makes it set in your own mind. So she's got a really good day set up for that. I try to bring in a variety of stuff that would appeal to physical therapists, yoga teachers, because it's gotten to the point where everybody has to have CEs to maintain their licensure.
Right.
So it's been it's very interesting. It's very interesting to talk to instructors, get them in, get them set up, get them going. Setting up the calendar for next year already. And trying to keep the favorites, but bring in a few new pieces to help, round out everybody's education.
Right. And you touched a bit about the 84th Annual A.R.E. Members Congress. And, of course, you'll be a featured presenter. The overall theme of the Congress this year is bringing Edgar Cayce Readings to life. So there's a lot of applicable events and presentations that will be going on. This takes place, of course, in Virginia Beach from the 21st to the 26th of this month, June. And I understand that you will be sharing a presentation on how to make mummy food, which is a recipe given by Edgar Cayce. But I'm curious, most of our listeners probably aren't familiar with mummy food. It's kind of one of the lesser-known Cayce, dietary things that came out of the readings. And can you give us a brief explanation of what mummy food is and the significance that Cayce put on it?
Mummy food has a fascinating history. I mean, Edgar Cayce had a series of dreams about this mummy, and it's very interesting dreams. It just happened over and over, it was a series. Sorry, and he said that the mummy told him this was the food she needed. Turned out it was a she. And it's very simple. It's just figs, dates, cornmeal, and some water. That's all. I mean, it's very simple, but it has a very rich flavor to it. And you cook it for 9 minutes, and then you stir in the cornmeal, and then for 1 minute, and then you take it off the heat. People who are not cooks feel like they can't do it because you have to sit there, stir and stir and stir, and sometimes it gets burnt, sometimes it's too sweet or whatever's going on. But we'll have a group of 10, and we'll actually take them to the Gibbons house that has a kitchen, and everybody will chop it, and we'll meditate and talk about the like. I actually do the reading of the readings, so they can see, learn about the whole. To hear the whole dream itself is very interesting.
Right.
And then a little meditation, and then we cook it, and everybody talks about it, and of course, then we get to try it afterwards.
Excellent.
Yeah, I've done that for the last 2 congresses, and it's been a big hit.
Awesome. And Cayce talked about this because I guess the way it's so nutritionally rich and the way your body assimilates it is what makes it so beneficial with the dates and the figs, I would say, for the most part.
He said for particular individuals, he stated that it was almost a spiritual food.
Oh, wow.
So it's very rich. It's I think it has a lot of iron or something in it, so it's really good. Yeah, you can put it on yogurt. You can put it on oatmeal, the steel cut oats. It's really good. Toast, I like it on toast because it's almost like a jam.
Right.
Yeah. Spread. It's really nice.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing that. We'll make sure we give our listeners all the information they need to register for that conference and your presentation in particular as well. I also understand that if the weather is permitting, you'll be treating conference attendees to a sand pack out on the beach. Yeah. And can you explain to our listeners who may not be familiar with the practice of a sand pack, what it entails and the benefits one can receive from doing a sand pack? Yeah,
Cayce recommended it in 59 readings to 37 different individuals, and from a variety of things to arthritis, poor circulation, just a general not feeling well, colitis, and different lesions that they were having issues with. So he recommended it for those folks. Virginia Beach is unique, has a unique sand mix here because we're kind of in the center. If you look at the map, we're in the center, and we're getting the northern currents coming down, and we've got a southern current coming up. So we're kind of getting it from both directions. So we're getting a lot of interesting deposits here, and it's mostly the gold and radium that Cayce felt was the most helpful to people to get the sand packs. So if it's dry from, say, the first, because we're going to try to do it on Thursday, it has to be dry. The sand has to be really dry, at least 4 to 5 inches deep, because we dig a little bit out, and then people run down, hop in the ocean, come back and get in the sand, and then we bury them. And Cayce said it was the combination of the cold ocean salty water and getting into the sand, and the sand is really hot because we face the sun when this is going on, and it's the combination of the two that creates almost a magnetic effect within the body and draws out eliminate toxins and stimulates the superficial circulation, which is what we really need, get the toxins out.
Right.
Yeah, it's really a beneficial thing. It's just so weather dependent, though, that sometimes we can do it and sometimes we haven't been able to do it, specific dates. So everybody pray for good weather. Pray good weather.
Absolutely. And we talked about here the mummy food and the sand pack, which will be a part of your presentation at the A.R.E. conference. In saying that, I think that shows how unique some of the Cayce remedies and the things that came out of the Cayce health principles. And just when you dive into holistic therapies in general, you can get some really unique, amazing modalities. And in saying that, you've also been very heavily involved with the conferences over the years at the A.R.E. since you've been involved. What makes an A.R.E. conference so unique, and what draws people to it?
Yeah, I was the field conference coordinator for 6 years, and I feel like when you come here to the headquarters for conferences, it's almost like coming home. You get that feeling of homecoming. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. You just feel like you're coming home, a spiritual home. You're coming for a topic that you're interested in, or a speaker that you've always wanted to see. But then you come in the doors and you just feel welcomed. Doesn't matter what's going on with you or how unworthy you feel, or if you feel like you're not enough, you're welcomed and talked to like you're a person. I we kid around sometimes because people come in and start talking about aliens, and we're all like, yeah, that's great, and we'll start talking aliens with them. You know, there's just so many things out there that we don't know yet, but there are so many things that Cayce talked about, even in the readings, that we still haven't, even some of us that are a little bit out there haven't really gone that far with yet.
Right.
So, yeah, so it's very accepting here. Very accepting. I'm also a Trekkie, so I spent a lot of years going to Star Trek conventions. So when I came here, I felt like I was at a Star Trek convention, like I was home. Like, these are my
Right.
peeps, right?
Yeah.
I could say anything, and they would just like, "Oh, that's nice. How interesting." And how did you learn that? And they'll just have a conversation with you about it instead of just cutting you off or making fun of you, or a lot of the stuff that happens out in the other world.
Right. Right. Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head. It's a very compassionate community at the A.R.E. All are welcome. We love to discuss topics that are kind of on the fringe of mainstream,
Yeah.
popular science, popular health. So I think that's a beautiful thing. And one of the other things people may take for granted sometimes is how beautiful the natural landscape is around the A.R.E. Smack dab in between the state park, which is amazing hiking, and then of course you got the beach on the other side, and it's right there within walking distance of both of those.
Yeah.
So it's a very naturally healing place.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, this you can smell the ocean all times of the day. And the salty air is full of negative ions, which is excellent for us to bring us together. And we're situated in a beautiful location. And Cayce said that we're actually pretty close to a natural vortex, healing vortex in the state park, which you can actually walk out. You can get pretty close to it. It's actually kind of in the middle of the swampy area of the woods out here, and yeah, it's really awesome. We're in a very unique position here. Cayce really had it on the head when he picked this place.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's why it draws so many people from all walks of life from all around the world. And I guess in talking about all that the A.R.E. entails and the wonderful legacy of Edgar Cayce and his readings, I'm curious, what role do you see the wisdom of Edgar Cayce and the association fulfilling as we move into the years to come? I know there's been a lot of expansion over the past couple years, renovating a lot of things, thinking about new directions. Of course, that's a big part of your job, just trying to develop new ideas and new ways to bring different educational paths into your curriculum. But I'm curious, where do you see all this in the future?
Well, I just see it getting bigger.
Yeah,
expanding. And, we don't have enough, we don't have the space here to expand, so we're actually going to expand more into the field. And Houston is a great place where we're going to expand right away with some of our educational services. We'll be taking CEs back there. They'll be offering more conferences there. We have a great person who just graduated from our program down there, starting to run it. He and his husband are running the place. They're go-getters, and they're really starting to develop some programs there and expand it. So we're going to be supporting him down there. We're going to be doing some more, sending our homegrown instructors, people who've gone through our school, gone out and specialized in something and come back to teach. We're going to be sending some of them out to do some away, like Reiki to go. We have spas in the area. In the Hampton Roads area is huge, and there's tons of spas, and we're going to be sending people out to do classes there for different spa calls us and ask for a team building class that they can pay for their students, for their massage therapists, and give them CEs so they can meet their requirements for the next year. We're going to send people out to do that. just like a field conference speaker, how we have done that in the past. So we're going to try and translate that to our instructors as well. We'll be probably field conferences will be picking up a little bit more, and sending a few new, they'll be getting new speakers, they'll be having some more new ideas, developing those. I see us developing the stuff that we already have and trying to expand those in smaller ways, easier ways. I don't know, the best way we can. I totally, I think we're going to do an excellent, we're just going to expand. We're just going to get bigger, honestly.
Yeah. Absolutely. I know I had Mitch Horowitz on the show recently, and he was talking about how, from what he understands and the research that he's done, the A.R.E. is one of the only kind of, I guess, in this new age genre of communities that are offering resources within that genre. They're one of the only ones who membership is actually increasing rather than decreasing, which is incredibly promising for the future of the Cayce legacy and the work.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, the books that are being published are starting to gather attention. Right. We're starting to, the energy is starting to build again. After 9/11, there was a big explosion of people searching for the spirit. And it's kind of, people forgotten and they've let it go, or they've specialized in other things. This is always a great jumping point, a good place to start on your journey.
Right.
And for me, it's been a good place to just continue to learn and grow. You learn so much here. You honestly do.
Yeah, I think you raised a great point, is that as a foundation, the Cayce principles and the things that came out of the reading are such a strong, amazing foundation to build upon. And like you mentioned as well, as you grow over the years, you find all this incredible kindred and resonant material that you always have the Cayce material to reference back to and to fall back on, and you end up learning more about how deep the wisdom goes that came out of the Cayce readings. And it connects with so many other things, which I think is such a beautiful part of the journey.
Yeah. I always tell my students, when you're looking through the material, you start noticing as you read other books and like subjects, you find that at the same time that Cayce was talking about mind being the builder, you also run into Florence Scovel Shinn. You run into Milton. No, not Milton. Who was that? Oh, Rudolf Steiner. Napoleon Hill. They were all at the same time at the turn of the century speaking mind is the builder. What you think can make your life, build your physical.
Right.
So I always tell them, when you find so many different people saying the same thing at the same time, and we don't know that he knew any of these other people or that they even knew him, that's when you know there's a truth. There's a truism there.
Absolutely.
And you know that's the truth. You can feel it. And I always use the readings as a touchstone. I always come back to them. If I find it somewhere else, I'll come back to the readings and say, well, what did Edgar say about that? Is that kosher? Is that what's going on? And then I'll, kind of meditate and draw that within and see if it feels right for me. Because he said, if it didn't feel right to you, leave it alone.
Right.
Yeah, take what you like and leave the rest. And that's the amazing part about the readings, because there is so much.
There is. Absolutely. Yeah, and it is. You're right. There's so much that, you're not going to resonate with absolutely everything, but I think there's incredible things for everybody that can be found within the readings if you apply it and find out exactly what you said, what intuitively feels good, feels right for you.
Right.
Absolutely.
What sounds true, what feels true to you.
Right.
Oh, definitely.
And can you tell us a little bit briefly here at the end about Happy Feet Healing Arts? Can you tell us about that?
Happy Feet Healing Arts is the business that I'm running now, and it's mostly most massage therapists have to have their own business license so that they can work as an independent contractor at different spas in the area. And so I do. I'm a certified hypnotherapist. I'm certified, nationally certified reflexologist, a Reiki Master, and so many healing modalities that I've studied and I practice: healing touch, IET, that it would just take too long here at the end to talk about. So, and then crystals and hot stones. I mean, I tend to just, like I said before, I just kind of get started on it, and then I might end up, we might talk about it beforehand and might end up doing something completely different at the end because, or you know, because the intuition just took me there. Or while we're working, something comes up, and then you just stay with it and help out. So yeah, so healing, it's not a place per se. It's more that where I'm working. Like I work at the Edgar Cayce Day Spa. Usually my usual days are Thursday afternoons and Sundays. And I also work at other couple places. And then, of course, I work from my home, which in Virginia Beach, you're not really allowed to have a business out of your home, but you are allowed to have a few people over occasionally. So I do that. I maintain that. I've done that for, I guess, since I became a licensed massage therapist. I've had it. It's just recently that I gave it a name.
Right. Absolutely.
Happy Feet Healing Arts.
Happy Feet
Healing
Arts.
It was from Steve Martin's Happy Feet.
Yeah, I thought I recognized
that.
And I'm sure you do quite a bit of reflexology with the feet, I'm sure, as part of your practice.
Oh yeah, I do reflexology in every massage at home. You know, it's within the hour. You find stuff, and then if you go down in the feet and hit it, you can find it again and really work through it. So you're kind of working it twice, you know, energetically. So if your neck hurts, then I go down on the feet and work on the reflexes for the feet, for the neck and the feet. And so in my mind, I'm working that twice because if you work something too much, you can actually bruise a person. So if you have other ways to do it energetically, that really helps to clear what it was without causing secondary damage.
Right.
And I totally believe that. Yeah, I incorporate the aromatherapies. We use angel cards at the beginning. I always have Reiki. Reiki's always a part of everything I do, pretty much. And the reflexology. Those are my favorite go-tos when I'm working. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like it. It sounds like you build up quite a repertoire of services and healing modalities that you offer. So we're very, very honored and happy to have you as a part of the community. And I'm sure it's been wonderful learning and growing within that community over the years. So I want to thank you so much, Renee, for joining us today on the show and sharing all of your incredible wisdom about the Edgar Cayce principles and your different healing modalities. So thank you for giving your time to our listeners today, and it was an honor to have you on the show.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you for asking.
Of course. Don't forget, Renee is a featured presenter at the upcoming 84th Annual A.R.E. Members Congress, and the theme this year is entitled Bringing the Edgar Cayce Readings to Life. This event takes place in Virginia Beach, as always, from June 21st through the 26th. In her presentation in particular, Renee will be sharing how to make mummy food, which is a recipe that was given in the Cayce Readings, and of course, weather permitting, she will treat conference attendees to sand packs out on the Virginia Beach. To register for the annual A.R.E. Members Congress this month, or any of the pre-conference workshops or online presentations that are offered, you can visit our website at edgarcayce.org/conferences. On behalf of everyone here at the Association for Research and Enlightenment and MoreTalk.tv, I'm your host, Brenton Bickerstaff, reminding you to remain optimistic and don't forget to always find time to do what you love in life. I want to thank you so much for tuning in to Reflections, the Wisdom of Edgar Cayce, and I hope everyone has a wonderful week. Much love. And now it is time for the thought for the day here on Reflections, the Wisdom of Edgar Cayce. And joining me as always for the thought for the day today is Dr. Bill Austin. Bill, thank you so much for being on the show with us today.
Oh, my pleasure, Brett. Thank you once again for having me.
My pleasure. And if you can go ahead and read the thought for the day today for our listeners.
I'd be happy to. This thought comes from reading 1971-1. For the material, at best, is only temporal or temporary, while that which may be builded from spiritual desire, spiritual purposes, is eternal. I like this reading because, we live in this material world. We're dealing with the material aspects of this world all of the time. And we have to do the best that we can with them. And the readings are really clear about they're a reflection of what's going on the inside of you. So deal with them the best way that you can. Don't be sloppy about it, but don't be too attached to them either. Because the real building is that spiritual growth that we're going through. And that's built on the spiritual desires that we have. And I like when he says the spiritual desires or purposes. What's our intent? Because as we open up to those, as those spiritual desires become greater within us, they're molded and shined up, to help manifest it physically. But it really starts with our spiritual desire. What's that spiritual, mental and physical manifestation? And it comes with the desire, and I can't say I understand that spiritual to the point where, boy, I've got this down, I really understand this. But I know what my spiritual desires are, and it's more than the satisfaction I want from that is more than the satisfaction that I've ever gotten in my 65 years of hammering it out on this physical plane here. But that's my guiding light, is that desire. I need to keep that in the forefront. And the readings reassure me that if I do, then I'll get that internal help to mold them into something worthwhile.
Right. Wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. And I love, you stress the importance of this spiritual desire that he talks about in this. And this for me stuck out. And what I love about this is I've always also been introduced to this idea that desires are the core of our suffering. It's a bit of an Eastern thought that we need to get rid of all of our desires in order to find that wonderful inner peace. And I love that Cayce chose to use the word spiritual desire, because for me that resonates a lot, because I've worked with not having desires, and it's not an easy thing to work with. It's something, desires are things that keep coming back up. But the thing I love about Cayce is he uses that same language and he just shifts it towards a focus. He shifts your ideal, meaning if you have an ideal to follow all of your desires in the physical realm, sometimes you can find that it doesn't always lead you down your highest path. You can find that you can, get yourself into trouble. And of course, you're going to learn lessons from that. But the thing that Cayce stresses is the spiritual desire. He wants, in saying, the way he says it is that he wants to take you those physical desires, the desires that are purely on the physical plane, and he wants you to shift it. He wants you to take that same strength, that same energy, that same passion, that motivation that you have to fulfill your physical desires, and he wants you to shift it towards the spiritual realm. So that's what, if you want to find success on your spiritual path, you have to be passionate. You have to take those desires and you have to really stress the importance of them every day, put them into practice every day, and you have to really make them what you desire, what you're passionate about, what you crave every day. And that's when you find you get all this inner guidance, you get these synchronicities, you get things clicking, you get relationships that come into your life that are very beneficial on a spiritual, coming from a spiritual perspective rather than the purely physical perspective. And that's what I love about this reading is he talks about just, the most important things are built from our spiritual desires and our spiritual purposes. And beyond the physical realm, these are the things that are eternal. We're going to carry with us through every lifetime, and they're going to be the things that will give us the most true reward, the most lasting foundation.
Very well said. You know, that spiritual desire, I think our ideals and spiritual desires really close together. And as you were saying, as you put that to the forefront, and you have to work hard to put it at the forefront, you know, it's when we're inundated with those physical desires, as you were talking about so much, you know, we feel like, oh, I'll get to that spiritual thing in just a moment, but I've got to take care of this task. I've got to do this. I've got to do that. I've got to manipulate this or that. And it's like, well, where are you coming from? And if we're coming from our spiritual desires and we're working with our ideals, then the physical will take care of itself. You know, if we deal with that spiritual desire, develop that into an ideal, you know, it'll become part of our mental process and then part of our physical manifestation. I like the way you put that together. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah. And for me, it's a reminder of such great souls like Cayce, who the emphasis of their life is, as you know, the average person wants something so bad, and we can think, oh, I want this so bad. You know, if you think about things in our life, when we wanted something bad enough, we put in all of our energy and all of our mental thought focus into getting that one thing. So when it comes to getting, you know, to know God, getting to know your inner self, helping to find a state of peace, inner balance, and health in your life, you have to want it like you wanted, you know, the most important things in your life. How much energy you put into that, you have to put just as much energy into your spiritual path, into these lasting things. And that's how you find what you're looking for. That's how you find that inner state of peace and health.
Yes. You're so right.
Excellent. Well, Bill, thank you so much for joining me as always on the Thought for the Day. It's always a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you, Brent. Always a pleasure to be here. Have a great day today.
Thank you. You too.